You don't even want to entertain yourself. It's all over. Speaking about getting soft, so bands nowadays, I'm going to call it right now. Are bands getting soft? Yes. Yes, rock bands out there. I'm sorry. I love y'all. And we're not talking about your music. Your music's hardcore. We got some great bands out there like Idols that are kind of like that. Derek's like, please, Sean, don't play that band ever again. It's sad and makes me want to hurt myself. They're great. Check them out. But no, bands are like, they're kind of a bunch of whips, a lot of them today, it seems. It's probably true. It's fun. Oh, God, people get so mad how you say that. And we're not talking the music. We're talking about the lifestyle.
The band lifestyle.
The band lifestyle. All right. So let's dig into this. Let's click like, subscribe.
Hit the old bell.
And again, we're giving away a Silver Sky.
Yes.
USA made. Not only that, limited edition.
We hit our 50K.
The ice.
First week of January. It's going.
It's ready to ride. This is one of those few hundreds that are out there in the world. Never been played. Never used. It's been played by me. So let's use that's it. That's still a new guitar. But it's a brand new guitar. We're giving away. You have to be on the like, subscribe, bell thing. It's the first week of the new year is coming out. So if you're watching this video and it's February, the guitar's already gone.
Yes.
Sorry. But thanks anyway. So band lifestyle.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes a week. Sometimes it takes a decade or more to make it as a band.
Yes.
And making it is different levels of making it, right?
Right.
There can be like you're making like you're touring like the bar scene and you're making it. You get in the theater scene, you're making it. The club scene, you're making it. You're getting into the bigger scenes, and you definitely made it. But it's still a battle the whole way because you can fall off that podium at any point
very quickly.
I remember like LA Guns, one of the biggest bands, and then now like playing like huge theaters in the 90s, and then they're playing like the bars going through Fayetteville or something because like
it's just so strange that they still exist. But
whatever, dude's awesome. I didn't realize that until like, I don't know, last week that's like he's one of the original members of Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
I didn't connect that. I feel stupid. I didn't put that together. I'm sorry. And I love the Guns N' Roses. I love Guns N' Roses. Anyway, sometimes you just don't know things.
That's true.
I grew up in a time without the internet.
Yeah, it's true.
So anyway, the lifestyle of a band.
Yes.
You have to live in a deprecated lifestyle. You live in a van. You go out on tour. You live in the van.
Yes.
You sleep on floors.
Yes.
You sleep underneath pool tables in some strange house in Connecticut.
You're often dirty.
You're dirty. You might get a shower.
Maybe.
There were no hotel rooms.
Not starting out. Yeah.
Starting out. There's no tour bus.
That's your losing money as it is. Nobody's got money for a hotel.
No, because when you go out and see a band, like if you've never been in a band and you go out and see a band playing at like your local bar, they're not making a ton of money.
Or your local VFW.
They're making zero money probably. But no, like a lot of bands, and they might be bands on tour. You might go see them at some of these places in the bigger towns or bigger cities or even the smaller ones like where we live. As a band that's touring through, they might make $300 for the band.
Maybe.
They might make $100.
Right.
They might make $500. They might make $1,200 if it's like a big band. And big is...
Well, I remember when bands like that, like particularly, mostly we're talking like rock bands, right? Like would go out. And these are, we're not talking about like an artist that's hired musicians. We're talking about like a band in the truest sense of the word. Right. It is a struggle to go out and try to string together, a dozen shows.
It's really hard.
Maybe you make it back home. And you break even, right? Like
the idea is like you're not going out there to make money. You're going out there to make fans.
I remember like when I lived in Charleston, like when I was early 19, 20, early 20s, all the bands, and I wasn't even really in the scene, but some of my friends were like in the sort of like hardcore kind of scene, and they play at the American Legion.
Awesome.
All these guys would got to go to the show this weekend, and all the little local bands would be opening for the tour bands. But I mean, the tour bands. It's like you said, maybe they made a few $100. I mean,
No, it's rare. Like, Derek has the Neon Rooster, which is different. That's sort of like, when you make to that point, like there's a lot of artists he brings that do actually make a good living.
Yes.
Coming through. But there's other bands that play there and don't make a ton. And they might, let's say you're splitting the bill and you sell X amount of tickets. And let's say the whole take is $1,000. Let's say $1,000. Wow, it's actually pretty good. Well, you got 6 dudes that got to get paid and the club has to get paid.
Right.
And so before you know it, everybody's making $75.
Yeah.
That's sort of how that works out. But the thing is, these bands are out there on the road now, and a lot of them aren't used to, I don't know, the struggle.
I think part of it, right? So now we got the internet, and we sort of like know how to do it. I think people have figured out sort of hacks for, okay, well, we're not going to go and stay on for 3 weeks. We're going to, hit these 5 or 6 things that we can drive to.
And that's smart.
I think people just do it smarter in some ways. I mean,
Okay.
some of it is a little smarter.
Well, we stemmed a lot of this from like hearing the complaints of there's some bands that the band lost $20,000. Like this one metal band that was out on tour. It was like sort of like a young up and comer, and they were complaining about it. And I think there's one that opened for Paramore too.
Well, I can understand if you go out and you're doing the pay to play thing, or maybe not even pay to play, but you're opening for like a known act. You're probably overspending if you lost that money.
That's exactly what it is. They're all staying in a hotel. Right. They're staying in nice places. They got the nice like sort of Sprinter that they're traveling with, and it's just a different level of, you're not in the Winnebago. You're not you're not in like the trashy thing. You do have to. I mean, I literally remember it back in my days of just like if you're a young man, you call people and you find places to stay there.
His overhead's way higher, right? Like now, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you're touring. You don't have a cell phone bill that you got to pay every month. You don't have your Netflix and your Hulu and all your other stuff.
Right.
So you got all these extra overhead costs. Nobody had a $60,000, $70,000 Sprinter van to tour in back in the day. That is
A conversion van. Yeah.
it looked like you're going to get raped in it.
Yes. The murder van. We used to have this thing about murder van.
That's Derek behind the camera. No, we used to have, we would rent sometimes, or sometimes it was the big like sort of cargo vans, but sometimes with the windows, and they were fun. They're like the Ford vans, the Chevys, and they weren't like the creepy Winnebago ones as much, but like that's what we were in. One of them I was in did break down the Holland Tunnel. That's a long story, but no, it was that's a good point. We didn't have as many bills, and maybe that's okay.
I think it is okay.
I didn't have cable either. Cable's always been expensive. Cable's the same as Netflix, Hulu, all that streaming stuff you do. Your cell phone's a different bill, but we had home phones, which was $8 a month. I think that's what my card charge was there.
Well, I think with the cell phones and with the internet and all that stuff, right? Like back then when you did that, if you went out on tour, it was the best way you knew to get. That was the only way to connect with people, right? Like you weren't putting out YouTube videos, you weren't putting out Instagram. Now, in my brain, the tour now is almost like cosplaying being a musician because you're doing the work on Instagram. And I hate to say that, and I don't mean to like offend anybody. I'm just saying that is the truth. It's people who are pumping money into Instagram and YouTube who are like getting big or blowing up.
That's the way to do it, though. That's the new sort of. That's your precursor to touring.
I also think, don't be offended. Well, you will be offended, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like the people that I knew growing up, we were, either working 2 or 3 jobs or just messing around because like my generation's parents thought you were an idiot if you were going to go out and play music.
Yes, my family thought I was stupid.
My dad was like, what are you doing? But then there hit a point where like people my age are growing up and we have kids or like a little older than me. And it's cool if your kids are playing music. So I see a lot more people who are like, even
that there to the Trustafarian.
I think maybe it does.
Derek's Trustafarian finally comes into play properly.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there are way more like parents now who have legit careers and money who are maybe not footing the whole bill.
I would support it.
Yeah,
I would because I worked 3 jobs where I was doing it too. So like that sort of counters the whole like we have so many more expenses, and I just worked a lot more too. Like I worked at a nightclub. We rehearsed every day from like 8 till 12, and I went to my teaching job.
Right.
Then I went to a nightclub. I pedaled. I worked for the cigarette company.
Forgot you did that.
Zippos at bars. I was one of those guys like dressed cool, like, hey, I want to fill out this survey on this little fancy iPad thing, and I'll give you Zippo and spread cancer slowly. I was always hustling, so I could go out on tour.
That was the idea, right?
It was the idea. So I had to have jobs that were flexible, where I could just bolt too.
Yeah,
like the MTV VH1 job was not flexible.
But also, what's the price of people's touring rig now compared to what you used to tour with?
It should be the same. It should be exactly the same, though. It feels like,
I don't know. I mean, I see people touring with.
but you see them tour with crazy stuff. They don't need to. They don't need it.
Well, but I'm going to make the argument again that comes directly from Instagram and YouTube, because, those things make us compare ourselves to everyone.
You don't need all that fancy stuff when you're out there.
Because when I started playing, it was like a piece of shit Randall solid state amp, you know what I mean? Eventually a hot rod DeVille, that was from a pawn shop. And Mexican fenders, and I thought I had an amazing...
You need to get...
No, they're not going to get it. If people will come to your show if you're playing a Novo versus if you're playing
Playing a Squire.
Strat,
No, it is like...
The only place that matters, again, is Instagram. I mean, you want to get more baby,
Once in a baby in like
Maybe it doesn't.
the worship the circles too. Like that's, I don't know if it matters as much, but I know that that's a big gear collecting thing. Like it does that. The presentation of that is different because needs to look so crisp and sharp, and you want to have pretty guitars.
Well, and I think a lot of that, maybe not now, but I think when that started, it was guys who were professionals, and that's when they got to play on the weekend. They had money, so you buy these cool, neat things, right? And they're all these companies popped up that sort of played to that. And I don't even think that's necessarily bad. It just is what it is, right? There was a market there.
But to cut myself a bit, going back to my rig was not worth a ton back then. It'd be worth a lot now, though.
Right.
Because I was playing, vintage Les Paul, which wasn't worth a lot. It was like a 78 Deluxe. It's back there somewhere. I played like, an American Telly that I bought from saving up some tour money. And then I had those are my two guitars I toured with. And then I had a Fender Twin, an old Fender Twin, a red knob.
like a night playing down with a 90s Strat or Telly.
Yeah. Well, maybe. And well, it's tricky now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sort of, yeah. Probably price-wise, because, I mean, I got the thing for under $1,000.
It wasn't the most desirable gear.
But that was different because gear wasn't coveted in the same way as it is today. Because that wasn't where we were spending a ton of our money. Our money was spent on gasoline. I mean, go back and watch the band, the Last Waltz. Like, right. What really struck me from that movie was when they're talking about how they used to have to steal from grocery stores. I remember being so, not wealthy with money, any type of comfort on the early tours. Like, we were sharing a piece of pizza. We were sharing one 12-inch sub would feed the whole band. Yeah, for the day. Right. We hopefully get free food at the bar or the club we're playing later. That would be our sort of daytime food. And then, it's just different. So, hey, we don't want to be those old, those old curmudgeons.
That's because we are. We kind of are.
Sorry.
Oh, I mean, no, because we're not like railing like, oh, everyone should have to struggle.
No.
I don't think that's what we're saying at all.
Make it overnight, make it. If you can get that deal that puts you in the, it's just, don't be scared. Like, I was looking at Camp too, like the band with the great song, The Auto, that's opening for the Lumineers tour, the last tour. They're just popping off now.
Yeah.
And they formed, I think, in 2007. It takes time. They finally got that big open spot. They're a great band. Check out Camp if you haven't. All their catalog is wonderful, but it takes time.
Any band that lasts that long is amazing to me. Like hats off to you if you can last from 2007, but 2023
Look
essentially.
at Spoon right now. Like, I feel like they've just hit their stride, and they formed in like the late 90s.
Yeah.
I think Spoon is killing it right now.
And that's awesome.
And their best record to date is their latest record, I think.
That's wild.
And I'm like, these guys are all like, in their 40s and stuff. And they're slaying it right now. But they've done it smart, intelligently, It's cool, but they worked their tails off for it.
Yes.
And they've made a career from it. There's been band membership lineup changes, but that's bands.
Yes.
Look at the Pumpkins, for goodness sake. How many lineup changes have they had? It's just Billy Corgan is the only constant.
Yeah.
That's all it needs. It's a dancing vampire, I call him. I think that might be it.
That's probably it. So we're still saying we sticking by our initial bands are softer.
Yeah. I mean, because it's partly our faults too, though. Because I would, I'd want my kids to be able to go out there and do it if they wanted to do it. So I blame us a little bit. Maybe it's but they just got to do it. They maybe suffer through it.
Maybe it's the shift from blue collar to white collar, because now the work is all on the computer.
God, there's so much of the work.
Isn't that kind of true? I mean, I don't know.
Like that's Twitter stars and everything, and all that.
And I sort of hate that a little bit, but it's kind of true.
But at the end of the day, there's still nothing like a live music. Oh, guess what I'm going to see this weekend? I'm going to go see Marcus King this weekend in Myrtle Beach.
Use
House of Blues, too. I was like, I was like, if he's playing House of Blues, yes, because that's a great place to see a show. It's small, it's intimate.
Yes.
And that dude's working.
Bless.
He's working. He's working. He blew up fast, too.
Yeah.
Because he had some good help from the guys, but his talent, his songs, his show, it's all worth it.
He's so pretty.
He's pretty, I guess. A weird Greenville, South Carolina way.
I should say thank you to Nate and Todd. They came to see me at the Poorhouse last week.
Oh, that's awesome.
From watching the YouTube.
That's really cool, man. Well, thanks, Nate, Todd. You really didn't go see Jonathan, did you?
No, they left after the first song, but it was fun.
And can we say thanks to our friend? I don't know if anybody called him yet because it happened during like this weird time when it was like our power out and everything, and it was cold. I think our friend Travis sent us some booze.
Nope.
Do you remember that?
I vaguely do remember that.
But you said that. Oh, yeah, we didn't. You have his phone number, right?
I do.
Later, but that was when we had the blackout a month ago or so. It was freezing here.
God, it's been that long.
So,
throw it times in a strange. That's like the Matrix.
thanks for listening to us rant and rave.
Yeah.
Sorry for went off on our soap. And thanks for letting Derek like interject for a minute there. He gets passionate sometimes.
I know. It's amazing.
Between his chicken harvesting.
Yes.
It's another story. Stay tuned. Peace be with you.